Every generation or so, we see the way wealth is made reset, creating new once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. In the 1970s, it was oil because OPEC cut off the oil supply, causing oil prices to skyrocket and oil investors to get rich. In the 1990s, it was internet companies. Internet valuations were skyrocketing and the investors in those companies became extremely wealthy. And then in the 2010s, it was a brand new investment called cryptocurrency. CNN even called Bitcoin the greatest investment of the decade because of how rich people got with crypto. Yes, every one of these assets goes through booms and busts. Like Bitcoin is not doing so hot right now, but during those periods, the investors were able to grow their wealth very quickly. But here's the part that a lot of people overlook. Behind the scenes of these exciting industries like oil and tech and crypto are boring industries like copper that power a lot of these booms, and a lot of people overlook it. And sometimes these boring industries can create even more wealth than the exciting industries that all the news is talking about. And that's why in this video, I want to talk about one of those boring industries that can not only make you a smarter investor, but might be able to help you find some hidden opportunities that most people completely overlook, because copper is used in every single part of our economy, and most people have no idea how it even works. Let me show you. Copper is the go-to metal for electricity. So anytime you hear of an economic boom, we need more copper. If people are buying more phones and computers, we need more copper. If people are buying more cars and houses, we need more copper. And if the government needs more missiles, well, you got it, we need more copper. But today we're starting to see a new use case for copper that didn't really exist a few years ago. Artificial intelligence. Because this artificial intelligence needs a lot of new technologies, it needs new data centers, and this requires a lot of copper. And now we're seeing countries like the United States and China go to war over copper. Now, I'm not talking about a physical war of fighting, I'm talking about an economic war. For years now, before the United States, China has been working to stockpile millions of tons of copper. It's the same economic game that we saw play out in the 1970s, where countries were working to stockpile oil because the countries with the most oil were able to control the economy. Well, China believes the same thing is going to happen with copper, which is why they've been working to stockpile their copper, because they believe we're going to need more copper to fuel the future of our economies if they're powered by AI. Well, now it's not just China. Countries around the world are working to stockpile their copper to be able to compete in the next generation of our economy. This is where now the United States is getting involved. President Trump has put on a 50% tariff on copper products coming into the United States. This way we're forced to produce more copper here in America. And then President Trump started something called Project Vault, which is supposed to be a $12 billion stockpile of critical metals like copper. And the reason why this gets so interesting now is because as so many countries try to acquire more copper, we're starting to see people worry that we could be seeing a copper shortage. This is why a lot of the people on Wall Street call copper Dr. Copper, because they look at copper as kind of an indicator as to where the economy is moving. When people are buying houses, they're buying cars, they're buying phones, that means the economy is growing, and you can measure this growth in the economy just by seeing what's happening with copper prices. And if people are not buying more stuff, cars are not being built, phones are not being built, houses are not being built, you'll see that because copper demand goes down, causing the price of copper to go down, which generally indicates that we could be seeing a downturn in the economy. So a lot of people actually like to look at copper prices to see where the economy is moving next. Now, for those of you finance nerds out there, things get interesting right now because copper today is at around all-time highs, which normally would say that our economy is booming. But we're also seeing a lot of concerns in the economy at the exact same time. We're seeing concerns about the United States economy, we're seeing concerns about inflation, we're seeing concerns about oil prices. All of these things are happening while copper prices are still booming. And I'll talk about how this could create potential investment opportunities in just a minute, but let's talk about why people are buying copper right now besides foreign countries working to stockpile copper. We already talked about that. There's three big economic drivers of copper right now. The first is AI and data centers, because every country that is involved in this AI race wants more data centers, and they all need more copper. So we're seeing companies work to get more copper so they can build the AI, so they can build the semiconductors, and so they can build the data centers. Number two is electric cars. And you might say, well, who's buying electric cars anymore? Well, in the United States, yeah, electric car demand is not as hot as it was a few years ago. But do you know where electric cars are being used more? Everywhere else in the world. And so even though the United States is not seeing the booming rush for electric cars like we were before, the rest of the world is starting to see growth in electric cars, and those electric cars need more copper. And then number three is the new energy grid and missiles. Because the entire world now needs more energy because AI sucks so much energy, We are building new energy infrastructure in the United States and all around the world to be able to keep up with all this energy need. All of this energy upkeep needs more copper because, again, copper is how you transport energy or electricity from one place to the other. Not to mention that wartime products like missiles need more copper. So when you hear about geopolitical concerns, you hear about concerns about war, all of that means you generally need more copper. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that is so you understand what is the demand side of copper, why people are buying more copper besides just countries working to stockpile copper. Now we can take a look at the supply side of copper, because I talked about how some people are getting concerned about a copper shortage. And you might just say, well, can't we just mine more copper and produce more copper? Yes, but it's not so easy. Right now, we're seeing some of the biggest copper producers in the world actually produce less copper, not more. The reason isn't that they want to produce less, it's that they cannot produce more copper. Now, the reason for that is through these mines, the easy copper access is not there anymore. And so we need to create new copper mines, and these new copper mines, to get access to more copper, take years, sometimes 10 to 20 years to be able to access that more copper. And so this is the dilemma, that we're trying to produce more copper, but it just takes time to be able to produce more copper while the demand for copper has been skyrocketing. And then on top of all of that is tariffs, because we know that President Trump is working to build new supply chains here in the United States, and that's one of the reasons why he's been putting tariffs on countries around the world. And that means we want to build this new supply chain of copper here, but that also means that copper prices could go up. Because if you have tariffs on things, that can make things more expensive, which means copper can become more expensive if we continue to see more tariffs on copper. Now, that being said, some of you might say, well, how can this create potential investment opportunities? And this is where a couple things I want you to know. Number one, I have a free investing masterclass that you can watch where I walk you through how you can take advantage of economic opportunities right now. It's a free masterclass. When you sign up for it, you're also going to get access to Market Briefs, which is my newsletter for investors, completely free. If you haven't signed up for that masterclass yet, I have the link for you down in the description below. And number two is I'm going to go over a few investment examples. I'm not telling you what to invest in. These are just examples. That way you can start thinking like an investor, because as an investor, you want to invest for the long term. And I'm just a random guy on YouTube. Investing has risks. You're never guaranteed to make money when you invest. In fact, you will lose money at some point. So make sure you always do your own due diligence and never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube. In the United States, there's not a lot of different ways to invest your money into the copper industry. There is a copper miner ETF, that's COPX, that will give you exposure to copper miners. Again, I'm not telling you what to invest in. Just want you to start thinking like an investor, where if copper prices go up, now copper miners generally make more money because they get to sell their product for more money. That's one way. But then the other option is you can invest directly into individual companies. Now, when you invest in individual companies, obviously that comes with more risk, because now if that company does bad, despite the fact that the industry might be doing good, you would lose your money. So if that was something that you're interested in, you could take a look at copper mining companies in the United States. That could be a potential investment opportunity for you. Or option three, more risk for more potential return, is to invest in copper miners that are outside of the United States, because some of the biggest copper mines in the world are not in the United States. Some of them are in South America. And so you can invest in those companies in the United States stock market to give you exposure to those copper mines in Peru or other countries in South America. Again, these generally come with more risk, but that's the way you can start thinking like an investor. One of the things that I've learned in life is that oftentimes the things you don't pay attention to end up mattering the most. And that's why I want to talk to you about life insurance with our sponsor, Policygenius, because if you don't have the assets to live off of yet, and something tragically happened to you, the last thing you want is now your spouse and your family trying to struggle to survive financially, and that's where term life insurance can come into play. Now, I'm talking about term life insurance here, not whole life insurance. The whole idea with term life insurance is it's life insurance for a period of time. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. That way you can work to build your assets. It is a lot cheaper than whole life insurance, because the whole idea is you're not here trying to get rich off your life insurance. It's just there as a bridge until you can build your assets. This is one of those things where the earlier you start, the cheaper it is. Because if you're a healthy 30-year-old guy, you could potentially get a $500,000 term life insurance policy for less than $1 a day. So if you have any questions, you want to learn more about term life insurance, or you want to see how much a term life insurance policy would actually cost you, I'll put a link to Policygenius's form down in the description. It only takes a few minutes to complete, and it'll give you an actual quote on how much term life insurance will actually cost you, and I have that link for you down in the description. So what I talked about in this video is that every generation goes through some sort of transformative economic shift which changes where wealth is made. Back in the 1970s, it was with oil. In the 1990s, it was with the internet. In the 2010s, It was cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. This creates economic and investment opportunity. But oftentimes behind the scenes, there's some industry that's often boring that can also benefit that's not getting a lot of the media attention. And now that's often because of copper. The reason why copper is because you need copper in pretty much every part of the economy. You need copper to build houses, you need copper for cars, you need copper for phones, and now we need copper for AI and data centers and missiles and for the clean energy grid and the new energy grid. Now, why does this matter today? Because we're also seeing countries around the world like China working to stockpile their copper positions. Now, the United States is getting involved. President Trump has been working to put tariffs on copper. He's also launched a new project in order to stockpile certain metals and minerals like copper here in the United States. And so we're starting to see this competition globally for metals like copper. Now, copper, again, is so interesting is because we need it in every single part of our economy. It's not a jewelry thing, it's an economic thing. And in the AI industry that we're entering, we're going to need more copper. And because there's so much more demand for copper, while the supply isn't keeping up and can't keeping up, some people have been talking about how this could create a supply chain shortage of copper. And so this is why copper becomes so interesting and so important, especially during a time where our economy is changing so fast. And so now the question is, well, what is this going to mean for the future? Well, generally, if there is a shortage of something and the price of these things go up, the people that are producing that same thing, copper, can benefit. Again, this all depends on the usage of copper keep going up and the prices of copper rising as well. So there's risks associated with it, but this is where I want you to start thinking like an investor. And then if you add tariffs on top of that, those same tariffs can also contribute to the higher prices of copper, which is good for copper producers. Now, am I telling you to go out and buy copper or copper producers? No. I'm showing you how to think like an investor because this is how investors think. They want to understand where the money is moving. So now that you understand that, now the question is how can you go out and actually invest your money? And there are some ETFs out there. You can go out and invest in American companies, or you can go out and invest in companies that are mining copper in foreign countries. Some come with more risk than others, but the idea here is this is how you can start thinking like an investor. It's by understanding how the economy is shifting and where money is moving as a result. If you got value out of this video, the best thank you is a referral. So if you could please share this video with a friend, family member, colleague, or fellow investor. That way we can continue to spread this type of financial education. Thank you. The United States government is approaching $40 trillion of national debt. And while most people are worried about how much money the government is spending, there's a quiet shift happening with our money that most people are completely missing. I'll show you. In the past, when the United States government would spend money it didn't have, it would borrow money from countries like